Whoa, 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 whoa,
Oh,
whoa,
oh,
whoa, whoa, whoa.
it's not Saturday.
Yeah, it's a little weird, right? It's a little weird. It's a
Yeah,
little weird. I'm looking at, like, I don't know. That don't seem right.
midweek.
Whoa, yeah. And hello, everyone, to
Oh my
a
god.
early uh Fandom Initiative
Mm-hmm.
episode. This is if you are watching now. It's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Happy New Comic Book Day to you. Happy Godzilla versus Kong Day as well. Hope you
Mm-hmm.
enjoy that.
Yeah.
So we came to you early because this Saturday we're not able to do a show. My voice is cracking. There we go. Back at it again. The voice is cracking. That's money. That means it's gonna be a good show, folks. Hasn't happened in a while. Must be the environment. Um, yeah, this is so Mike was like, hey, how about we, do a show Wednesday? I said, that works perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
And our guest today will also be able to join us in the discussion. We are going to be talking about a movie that people have been wanting to see for a minute. They've been clamoring for it.
Mm-hmm.
They've been asking for it. They've been dying for it.
Mm-hmm.
But first, let's get these introductions out of the way. In this corner, no, oh man, the man across from me virtually. This is the cinema CEO. He is the cinema god. He is also one half of the tag team champions of the world, along with Lady Mina, who has her podcast that is called Mina and Mawa Politicking for the Culture. She is the cinema impresso.
Oh boy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They also have a podcast called The AM's A-Listers, which is diabolical. Go and listen to it, please. It's just Michael and Mina, the way they dive into movies and everything like that, and the discussions are go listen, please. It's on all platforms, correct?
Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's on
Yes.
all platforms. Go and check that out, please. This is Michael Williams.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for the illustrious introduction.
Brother.
I'm
What
happy to
I
be. I'm happy to be back with our listeners and our fans and our watchers.
Yes, this will watch it. Oh, that's oh, tight neck on that one. Uh if you know, you know.
Yeah.
And myself, I am the hungriest man in the room. You can take that however you want. I am the Hungry Bleak. I also have a solo podcast, which I host along with various guests every episode. It is called the Hungry Bleak Podcast. Again, there was nothing special that I could think of a name. That was it, folks. That's it. My creativity
He's still
only goes
big
so far.
time though. He's still big time.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on. When I walk in the room, the tax bracket drops. Don't let's not do that. I am Antonio Pomares, and thank you very much for joining us, as Michael said. And we appreciate all of the. Lately, we have been getting so much more of viewers and followers, and we appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, who is liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, and just being a part of this. We appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Michael, why don't you introduce this gentleman that has been on the show previously?
Yes, he has been on a show previously. My man from the way back. He is an independent actor working on some projects. He's got some stuff going on. Let me just bring him out here. My man, Michael Andrews.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
Hey, how y'all doing? Thank you for having me back, man. I'm loving the show, man. Thank you. I really appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you. Thank you
problem,
very much,
brother.
sir.
No
Thank
problem.
you very much. That was a very Arsenio Hall type of introduction, and I dig that. He was like, you know what, man, just get him on out here. So today we are discussing a movie that people have been clamoring for. They wanted it. We finally got it. Was it last week, or was it the week before that we got it?
Week before last, I think.
All right. Time flows so differently now.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about, obviously, Justice League, the Snyder's Cut.
Yes.
Now there are two versions on there actually. One is regular, and one is in gray. It's like a grayscale. I started watching the grayscale this morning just because to see if it actually was gray. Looks really nice. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, they both look great, but the gray, it just fits Snyder.
Yeah.
Gray, rain, fire, and armor. You get those four things in a Snyder movie. He's like, oh, you done messed up now, son. Oh, you must. So I'm gonna let. So what did y'all? So now we have two Michaels. So one's gonna be Michael A. One's gonna be Michael. Because I'm
That's
not trying to
perfect.
say Michael and everybody answer.
That's perfect.
All right. So Mike A. as our guest. What did you think of the movie?
I loved it. I loved it. I remember going to the theater to see the original 2017 cut
Mm-hmm.
and walking away shaking my head like, this is what we got. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Michael will tell you, I mean, you're not going to find a bigger comic book geek than me, you know? And I was really disappointed, you know? I felt that it was rushed. The characters were very underwritten. And I don't know, like, I mean, Josh, you know what's sad is that Joss Whedon, just a couple of years before, gave us the Avengers, which at that time I thought was like, probably besides The Dark Knight, is the greatest superhero movie ever produced. Avengers was perfect. So I know about the whole tragedy with Snyder's daughter and whatnot, and they brought Whedon in to, you know, replace him and whatnot. And I'm saying this is the best that Whedon could do. It was a disappointment. And then you heard like the backstories from Ray Fisher about, you know, crap going on backstage and whatnot. But anyway, after seeing this Snyder's 4-hour cut, I walked away thinking, this is a masterpiece. This is perfect. I don't know what, say some people, Warner Brothers had a problem with it. What problem could they have? This told a more fleshed out story. It felt like a comic book. And the fact that, I mean, this told from Cyborg's point of view. Cyborg came out perfect. I mean, all the characters did. You know, it felt like a true team of heroes. This is how a comic book movie is supposed to look and feel like. I had no problem with it. I'll definitely watch it again. It's perfect. To me, it's a 10 out of 10.
All right. That's. I mean, this movie has a lot going on, not just, you know, as far as what's going on screen, but as far as behind screen. But we didn't find out until actually before this even dropped. We didn't find it out. So this movie's got a lot of stuff around it. A lot. Michael, what were your thoughts on it?
I enjoyed it. I thought this is the version that we deserved to get in 2017, but we didn't for a whole host of reasons. But I think this version gives a lot of context that was missing the first time around. And I mean, I still don't think it's a perfect movie. Like there are things, and I've said this before, and you and I, Antonio, have had these discussions about there's certain things that I don't like about the interpretation, especially of one character in the film. But other than that, it's a really good movie. Like, it's really good. I mean, I understand that it's long, and I understand that people feel like it's, you know, it's an investment, and I admit that it's an investment. It took me 2 nights to watch it. You know what I mean? But it's much better this time around through Zack Snyder's eyes, fully through his eyes. And I think it's one of those things that kind of puts Warner Brothers in a very difficult position if you're paying attention to the news now, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is something that the fans wanted. They buckled to the fans wanting it. The fans have gotten it, and now the fans are not, I should say, gonna let this sit exactly where it is as just, we got this thing, we should be happy, and that's it. They want more, you know, and I think that it's gonna this is gonna be a real test for Warner Brothers as well as HBO Max, because HBO Max wants more, because they recognize that this is drawing people in. It's drawing people in who probably wouldn't have subscribed to the service prior to this. And Warner Brothers doesn't seem too keen on wanting to foot the bill for this. I mean, they barely wanted to give Zack Snyder the $70 million to finish this movie, let alone more money to keep going. So, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens from here. But if I was running Warner Brothers, I would let this be a jumping off point for more programming and dealing with, you know, those DC IPs that they have, because that's what they need. That's what they need to compete right now with, you know, Disney Plus and to a certain extent Netflix. You know what I mean? Like they need these things to be fleshed out and oversaw correctly in order to keep people's interest. You know?
I agree.
I mean, they've definitely got a paradox on their hands. Especially when they have already said that this is, you know, not canon, that this is going to be, you know, its own separate thing, which in my head, truthfully, because of the way that the DCEU has been structured and done, I just naturally think of it as, oh, this is just something that they did just for HBO Max. That was my thought to begin with. But then after seeing it, because like the both of you, I saw the mashup first one, because that's only really way that you can really describe it, and then Snyder's cut, and I was like, these are two different movies. They're not even cousins. They don't even live on the same block. They don't. These are like two different films altogether. Like within the first 6 minutes, I remember saying this is a better film than the first one is, and you can tell. I mean, like which shot is which shot, and like whose is whose. You know what I mean? It just has, it's more stylistic. I mean, it's perfectly Snyder, and I make this joke, but I'm dead serious. Give Snyder rain, slow motion, armor like spears or something like that, some type of armor like that for soldiers, and possibly fire. And this dude is like, he's like, oh man, y'all done messed up now. And that's what we got. And I understand that it's long as 4 hours. I understand it's long, but people sit and binge stuff all the time. All you got to do is press pause, go eat, go to the bathroom, spend time with whoever, come back and watch it. That's all you got to do. Or, you know, pause it, watch something else, then come back to that. You know what I mean? Just like you do any other time you binge something. Like the most episodes I can binge something is maybe 4. This movie's 4 hours. And it's also, it helps you because it's broken up into chapters. Yeah. As if it was going to be a miniseries, which I believe was, people have been saying that it was supposed to be a miniseries like this, which makes sense the way the chapters are broken up, which I like. And it caught me off guard. Look, I've said this from the beginning. I did not like the way that Aquaman was represented. I could not stand it. It aggravated the piss out of me. This movie did it over. And look, there's a reason why I got this shirt.
Yeah, I see.
Look, bottom line, you got a rep for the Atlanteans. I know. Wait, Atlanteans, and I see a Black Panther shirt. Oh shit.
Yep.
Damn. Oh, so I'm Namor right now. You know what? My bad. My bad. But this movie was so well done. It's just a completely, and it totally. Someone actually said that they was Keith Cross, writer of a Day Black. He said Zack Snyder made a 4-hour movie called Kiss My Ass, and I'll be damned if it didn't. This movie was so much better, and it shows Whedon. Aside from what we know of Whedon now, it shows that Whedon is kind of like a one-trick thing. You know what I mean? And it showed so much in his Justice League portion that he did. It's like night and day. That is such a Marvel, and I'm not trying to be funny by saying, but just from even the comics point of view, that's such a Marvel look. And you can feel it, the banter, the cuteness, what have you. You need that darkness, because if you know Marvel and DC is the darker of the two. You know, it is the more violent, the more quote unquote realistic, if that is a way to say it, way of looking at it, and it's darker and grittier. I mean, you have an orphan dressed up as a bat running around beating up people and then asking them to talk. that doesn't work out. You just broke my jaw. I can't say nothing, bro.
Mm-hmm.
My clavicle gone. You know what I mean? So yeah, the Whedon cut just the Whedon cut doesn't cut it. I'm not trying to be funny, but it doesn't. If I was to tell somebody, hey, go watch that movie, then watch this and see the two differences, it's like, I mean, it's like just night and day. Honestly, it's like night and day.
Yeah.
I agree.
The characters were much more fleshed out. We got to see the characters that we saw cut. Yeah, seeing and just I'm like I'm trying to. Why would you? So you decided to keep a CGI mustache, but you didn't want to keep a scene where Cyborg was doing a great superhero thing and giving someone money so they could pay their bills.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like I don't. And all the characters that he cut were characters with melanin in their skin.
Yeah, yeah.
There was a lot of BS going on.
That's
There was what's up with that.
Yeah, and when you guys heard about the fact that they wanted to make a Cyborg movie, like at first, like, oh, great, cool. When you saw the Justice League cut, the original Justice League cut, what did you think about like were you like, why would they want to have a Cyborg movie? They did nothing with it. Why?
Right, exactly. Yeah. Because Cyborg is one of the most compelling characters in DC. I mean, it's a tragic character for one thing.
Yeah.
His backstory. And I'm at a loss why Whedon diminished him the way he did. I just don't get it. Like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, like you said, like watching this movie, this new cut is definitely night and day. I mean, you understand Cyborg's relationship with his father in a much stronger context than you did in the Whedon cut. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You understand his anguish over his physical appearance. Why, his relationship with his late mother. Like, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I'm disappointed because Whedon is, you would think, is a much more talented and more responsible filmmaker than that, and he would just cut. I really don't understand. Like I said, you look at it and you say to yourself, this can't be the same guy that gave us the Avengers. It can't be. You know what I mean?
I mean, it can, because that looked like Avengers.
Well,
he should never. He can't do that darker feel. I don't know if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It does make sense. I mean, I honestly thought that the Cyborg parts of the original release were probably the strongest parts of the movie, even though he had cut out all the contextual parts of it. I thought that part was probably the best part of the entire movie, like the whole introduction of Cyborg and kind of like what little bit of development we got in 2017. And I just think that in the Snyder cut, it just gives it all this dimension that should have been there in the first place, and just makes it makes the Cyborg character even better this time around. And I don't. It's mind-boggling to me that Joss Whedon could have made a movie like Avengers, and then and honestly, I think he put himself in a box, because Joss Whedon had said years ago, and this was after Avengers had hit, and it was a huge hit, and it made all this money. And I don't remember where he said it. I don't know if it was an award show. I don't know where it was. But I remember him saying something to the effect of, Warner Brothers, if you wanna make DC work, call me. and I think in some ways he bit off more than he could chew by saying that.
Yeah.
Because now when he was put in the situation to kind of do it, and this is the thing, and Antonio and I have talked about this before, like after a show that we did where this whole thing came up, and I said, I don't even understand why Joss Whedon, just as a director and in an honorable situation with knowing what directors go through to develop films, would have even taken on this responsibility from a guy who had already started a movie and left under, some really heavy circumstances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you're basically asking Whedon to come in here, take what already is a framework of a movie, and then try to finish it by changing it? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
Yeah.
And I think that was where Whedon made his mistake, is that he believed his own statement, he believed his own press, and then when he went in there and he tried to do what he tried to do, he got himself into some serious trouble. And then when the fans finally saw the end result of it, they were like, what? Like, you could literally see, it's almost like the movie has a seam straight down the middle of it. Like, you can see the stuff that is Zack Snyder,
Yeah.
and you can see the stuff that Whedon tried to do, and it just doesn't mesh. It doesn't mesh at all. You know what I mean? So,
It's like it's two completely different movies.
it's
but,
crazy.
But you know what's funny though? Because of how shitty it is, it actually looks. It actually matches up to B versus S with that ridiculous looking way. That's why you look at it and you go, no one questioned it because it's just as bad. You're like, yeah, okay, all right, fine, all right.
Yeah.
Like nobody, because as long as you're consistent, whether it's good consistent or shitty consistent, nobody's going to question.
Yep.
Yeah.
I agree
But
with
now
that.
you look at the MCU now, you look at it and you like, man, the Russos, yeah, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Bet. I look at Avengers, now the first one I go, okay, but it doesn't hit me like when I'm watching one of the Russos movie. I go, yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah.
You're giving me a Hot Pocket versus a whole meal. Come on now.
Right.
It doesn't, and I understand it's iconic because it's the first time that such a huge project was put together. Because nobody thought, when we saw Iron Man, we didn't think that we'd be getting Avengers. We didn't think there was going to be this link there, that was the start of the actual MCU. We didn't think that. And then, you get it and you're like, oh wow, it's great, what have you. But then when you see later on, you're like, oh man. And then when you see what Whedon does, and how would you go into this going, I'm going to make this really bright? You know what? I was watching Justice League Unlimited the other day, and I think I'm going to do this. What makes you? I'm not a director. I've never been on a movie. I've never done any of this. I look at it and I'm like, I would never think to make. You know what? Again, Snyder. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make Superman come back, and he's going to be really fun. He's going to start quipping, and he's going to be the guy that you know. You know what? Get Tim Daly. We're going to get him in here. Like, why would you? That thought process.
Yeah.
And again, if you're consistently shitty, people are just going to go, okay, cool. Well, is the movie finished? That's all we care about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. As far as like, since we've compared the two and we've just completely eviscerated the other film, what are what moments really stuck out for you in this Snyder's Cut? What moments or characters that are now in the movie stuck out to you, Michael A?
Lois talking to Martha Kent.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I thought it was a pretty cool moment. Okay, Martian Manhunter. Okay, I dig the character, especially within the pages of Justice League. But I don't know if you maybe you know where I'm going to go with this. It was cool seeing him visually, but why didn't they? And okay, him talking to, Bruce and whatnot.
Bruce at the end, yeah.
why didn't they include him in the battle? I'm, I'm a little puzzled because
I was waiting for this to pop up. Because I was waiting for this.
you know, I mean, because I'm saying to myself, if he kind of knew what was going on behind the scenes, why wasn't he there? I mean, I'm just kind of like, I mean, when I was like, I don't know. And then people on social media were making fun of, like, you know, his dialogue with Bruce, and people were saying, when he got the gall to say, "Well, if you need me next time, call me." You could have used you now, bro.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, okay, but I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, maybe hopefully we see him again in the future in the DCEU, but it would have been cool to see him interact with Superman and Wonder Woman, you know, in the conflict. I'm just saying, you know. So I mean, what do you guys think about that? You know? I'm just saying, because I'm just like, okay, now you show up, it's over. Yeah, so yeah.
I'm gonna let Michael go first. Because I want to see if he. I don't know if anybody else is thinking the way that I'm thinking, but I'm gonna let Michael go first because I'm usually out in left field.
God. Scenes that I really kind of liked in this movie that kind of.
Oh no. As far as what Michael A just said about Martian Manhunter, like what were your thoughts about that?
I like Martian Manhunter. I like Martian Manhunter as a character, and it's interesting because it kind of feels like the way Martian Manhunter is used in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if maybe Zack kind of caught himself thinking long term that, hey, this movie's going to be a hit.
Okay.
I'm going to save him until I get to do Justice League 2.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Like, I think that might have been a fundamental mistake on his part, right? Because it's kind of like, you know, the Warners have itchy trigger fingers right now after BVS. Why not just shoot your entire gun in this movie and have everyone in it, and then, you know, if the dust settles on your side of the line and you get to do a second one, then you can easily bring Martian Manhunter back as part of the team. But you should have used him. You should have used him in a better way, I think, in this movie. Even though I liked that he established him in this movie, I think he could have used him in a much better way than he did.
All right.
Yeah,
that is a good point. Still gonna wait for mine.
Okay, bro. Okay.
I'm sorry. There's another scene that I liked. Completely forgot. The one with Barry Allen. When he's trying to get the job.
Yes.
And he saves the girl from the potential car wreck. I thought that was a cool moment.
I did
that. That was Iris.
Iris, yeah. And this very little. The reason why I really like that scene, besides my issues with Ezra Miller, is that there's very little dialogue in that scene.
Yeah.
It's basically looks between him and Iris that kind of is the dialogue of the scene.
Yeah.
And that entire thing, the way it goes down, tells you a lot about what their chemistry will be in the future, as well as how it kind of established itself in that situation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That scene does. I know some people say that it's too long, but I actually like this. It is too. Well, I mean, it's again, Zack Snyder movie. You're gonna get a lot of slow motion, and some of that slow motion is gonna be slow. So, I mean, what have you? They gave him the budget and they gave him the toy, so he was going to use every drop of it. Again, he made a 4-hour movie called Kiss My Ass. There you go. What were the scenes that stuck out to you, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, besides that Barry Allen, Iris West scene, or whatever
Mm.
you want to say. Um, this is gonna sound weird when I say this. I thought the actual beginning part of the movie was actually pretty good
Mm.
because I don't know. I thought it was really creative to have a situation where Superman dying and him yelling because he's being stabbed in the heart with a Krypton spear is the whole thing that kind of starts off the chain reaction of mother boxes being
Yeah.
activated. Almost as a, and not almost, it is. It's a symbol. It's an indication to, um, you know, Darkseid and his minions that the Earth is no longer being protected by a Kryptonian.
Mm.
Now it's
Mm-hmm.
time for us to go in and do what we want to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, that was a really good scene. I'm trying to think what else did I like too. Yeah, I liked the other. I liked the other whole scene of the scenes that add context to to Cyborg, like him playing football and him being angry that his father didn't come to his game.
Mm.
Um, I mean, that's the thing. That's the beauty of this cut of the movie. That there are these little things. It's not even huge things. It's little things that kind of say, okay, well, yeah, like that greatly adds to my appreciation of not only the scene but of the story in general.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
those are two things that kind of stand out to me. That definitely stand out to me.
Yeah.
And of course, the money scene that everybody wanted from the last movie
Mm-hmm.
that they didn't get. The black suit the black suit
Yeah.
Superman
That was
scene.
Yeah.
cool. That was
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, and that whole scene when he goes back to his ship and he's hearing his two fathers speak to him. You know, it's just really good. Like really good. And again, that scene to me also just kind of shows you how good a choice Henry Cavill was to be Superman in the first place, because
Yeah.
Mm.
a lot of the things that Henry Cavill does is not even really with him speaking. It's the look on his face. It's the looks he gives. It's the emotion that he has. Like he has a ton of emotion when he goes into that ship and he's hearing Jor-El speak to him, but he's also hearing Pa Kent speak to him at the same time. And they're basically the same messages to him.
Mm-hmm.
The earthly father telling him, be who you want to be. You know what I mean? Like, and his father's telling him that, these earthlings, they want to follow you. They want you to be their protector. You know what I mean? It's
Mm.
and it's not even that Henry Cavill needs to say anything. It's just the look he has in his eyes of like, it's a look of it's a mixed look. It's a mix of the sadness that his father, both his father figures are gone, but it's also this look of knowing that he needs to make the ultimate choice finally of what he's going to be. Is he going to be Kal-El forever, or is he going to be what Earthlings know him as Clark Kent / Superman?
Mm. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah. I love.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. One thing I loved about the Man of Steel was the fact that there was the conflict.
Yeah.
The fact that and I honestly I thought at the time I thought that was revolutionary because anyone who's a true Superman fan like we are, you know, his choice was clear cut from the get go.
Mhm.
I'm going to use my powers to protect people.
Right.
I'm gonna use my powers to become a protector of Earth and
Right.
battle the forces of evil. And yet Snyder gives us a version where, you know, Jonathan Kent is telling him, no, don't do it. Don't do it because you come out the woodwork and these things that you can do, people are not going to accept you.
Right.
And I thought I was like, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because even going back to like the 1978 Superman
Mm-hmm.
where Glenn Ford played Jonathan Kent, even he was telling him, listen, I don't know why you were sent to Earth, but
Mm-hmm.
you were sent for a reason, and I think it's a
Mm-hmm.
good reason. And
Mm-hmm.
you know, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
In this version, Jonathan's telling him, don't do it. And I was like, why is he? Why are we seeing this Jonathan Kent? But I got it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like I said, I mean, and I like the fact that Superman did feel in this go around conflicted. Okay, I have these abilities. I'm not human.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I am, but you know, I'm scared that what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Do I listen to Jonathan or do I listen to Jor-El?
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I'm torn. Um, so I do like the darker interpretation of Superman, but to the point where it's like, okay, at some point he will eventually say, you know what, I have a responsibility, and like you said, the people are looking to him for leadership. They
Mm-hmm.
need a savior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And I mean, Batman is a savior, but Batman is dark and broody,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
he can be cold blooded, which I don't
Yeah.
have a problem with either.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that I mean, that's one of the things I always loved about the Superman character is the fact that he is selfless,
Mm-hmm.
and people love and they need him. We're a lost people because 9 times out of 10, a lot of us want to choose the wrong things to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And here's a man who's saying, you don't have to go that route, and I
Yeah.
will help you.
Yeah.
You
And
know what I
and
mean? We
and I
all have
think
choices to make.
yeah, and I think
Yeah.
essentially that was the smart thing for Snyder to do
Yeah.
because I actually kind of saw I actually kind of saw a quote this week from him that of why he decided to actually shoot that scene in general with him going back to the ship and getting the black suit and things like that. And he was saying that it was part of a much larger arc that he had in mind for Superman from the beginning,
Mhm.
you know, which is almost reminiscent of how, you know, the the MCU saga is kind of seen through Tony's eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like we're introduced to Tony, and then it's basically Tony's arc of a various number of decisions, good and bad, until we get to the end where he kind of has that redeeming moment, right? For all the
Mm.
things that he chose, you know, errantly that kind of put us in this situation. You know what
Mm.
I mean? And to have that redeeming moment of being able to restore everything to where it needs to be. And he basically was saying that, Snyder was basically saying that he had chosen to give him the black suit because he just felt like Kal-El in that moment would choose to wear a black suit that is more representative of who he is when he was on Krypton. That it kind of represents what
Mm.
he was when he was on Krypton, and that if he had gotten to do more things after this, that he would fully flesh out the arc where he would go back to the red and blue suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it just again, I have not had a problem with what Zack Snyder's been doing with this Superman arc at all, and I've said it many times that this was the kind of Superman that I wanted to see. I mean, I love Christopher Reeve. I really do. And there's no question that I love that interpretation of it, right?
Yep.
But I can see that interpretation, like I said, anytime. That interpretation is on TV hundreds of times during the year. I own those interpretations on disc. Like, I can see that at any point. You know, what I wanted to see was a movie where Superman deals with the gray areas of being somebody who is not of Earth, who is expected to, you know, take care of a planet of flawed beings. And how would that, I mean, how would that really work on his psyche, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yes, people want me to be this savior, but do I want to be that savior?
Yep.
Like, do I feel the weight constantly of having to be the guy who saves everyone? You know, and am I not allowed to have feelings about that?
Yeah.
And feelings in general. You know what I mean? Like, that's the beauty of what he was able to do with Man of Steel. And I know a lot of people didn't like Man of Steel, but I did.
I loved it.
I did, because it's the Superman movie I've been wanting to see for the longest time.
Yeah.
I mean, even, and I know we're kind of off the topic of Justice League Zack Snyder proper, but I just wanted to bring out a couple of these things. Like, I think the other thing that I really liked about what he did with the Superman arc also is the General Zod interpretation by Michael Shannon, which is completely different than Terrence Stamp.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just so much different, and it needs to be, because Terrence Stamp played the hell out of, you know, the guy who is potentially smarter than Kal-El, and is the guy that anyone will follow through a brick wall in order to go and get Kal-El and kill him.
Yeah.
Right? The Michael Shannon thing is more like, it's almost a more sympathetic portrayal of General Zod. Like, you know what his mission is. His mission is that he's already seen Krypton blown up. So his people are dead. You know what I mean? Like, they're all dead. There's only one other person other than the two minions he came to Earth with that, you know, knows what Krypton is and how we can try and reestablish a world that's like Krypton. You know what I mean? So it's almost like he's trying to seek out the one other person who might understand him for who he is, even though what he's choosing to do may not be necessarily the best for humanity, because it clearly isn't. He just is like, you know, we as a people need to survive as well, Kal-El. So this is why I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, you should come back with me and we should reestablish Krypton. And of course, that puts them on opposite sides, right? Because Superman is like, no, like, these people deserve to have a chance to live too. But it's just, it's the way that Michael Shannon plays it is just, it's just great. It's great. It's different. It needs to be different. And he succeeded in that. But getting back to the whole thing regarding, you know, the Zack Snyder cut thing, I just thought it was a brilliant choice to kind of keep the through line going through Superman, because Superman's specter in this movie is kind of felt when he's not there at the beginning, and even when he comes back, you're not really sure what side of the line Superman is going to be on until Lois brings him back into the fold.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. That's true. To reply to what Mike A was saying about Martian Manhunter and him not being around.
Yeah.
My first thing was, well, do we know how long he's actually been here on Earth? Because how long has he been masquerading as him?
Yeah.
Or was that his first identity? Has he been around? Because even in, and I'm not trying to be funny when I say this, but even in Justice League Unlimited, he left the League for a while. Even when all that stuff was going on, left the League was going on. You know what I mean? And then he decided to come back when it really got hinky. He had a whole life in China. He had a wife and everything. He was happy as hell. And then he decided to come back. So we don't know how long he's been there. I had forgotten that he was even in the damn Snyder Cut. I had forgotten about it until he came back, and I was like, "Oh, I totally forgot about that he was there." And Bruce was even like, "Oh, you got us next time. Like, where were you at? Like when I was
right."
Like Bruce was really mad. Like,
Right.
I don't know.
And I know that he turned around like, who the fuck? Who was that?
Yeah.
Right?
And I was actually
Alfred?
hoping,
You know who this smoke
exactly.
word?
And I was actually hoping that he would say that his name was John Jones there in that scene. I was almost certain he was gonna say it. And then he didn't say it. I was like, oh, okay. You know what I mean?
But it does like, but what Mike, no, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I was just gonna say because when you like read some of the reports like prior to the film's release, they made you feel like Martian Manhunter was going to be a major part of the film. Yeah.
But even I mean a major part as far as like being like almost like a cameo, I guess, if that's what they mean by major. I don't know. But
that was
yeah. But if we're going to go with what Michael was saying, which it is almost like, and we love using this term, backdoor pilot for a movie, but this is because they did their movies out of sequence. This could have been the way where he would have gotten his own solo movie. Then they would have fleshed him out more.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what they've done. They haven't gone in the sequence of the MCU. With the way this movie was, I have no problem with the fact that they went out of order, or quote unquote, out of order, because of how they were doing it. Because this movie completely would have changed the entire DCEU. You know what I mean? And we, something from this is like the flagship, which is what it's supposed to be, because this is it. And it would have changed everything. So imagine getting that John Jones movie. We would have found out maybe more about his character, maybe on Mars. Or maybe what happened when he got here, and how he got here, and how long he's been here, and was he actually doing the whole detective thing like we know that he was doing at one point, and actually being John Jones. You know what I mean? Because he's as strong as Superman, and he's a telepath, everything. He has all these incredible abilities, but we only got that. But so that was my thinking, that we were going to get a standalone movie with him, like out of order. Just like we were supposed to get a Cyborg and Flash and such like that. Scenes that hit me were obviously regaining Aquaman when he put the trident, the extreme trident. Tri means three. That it trident through Steppenwolf. I needed, when I saw him finally being Aquaman and being this guy who is incredibly strong and tough and basically bulletproof and everything like that, Atlantean. I loved the Aquaman scenes in this movie because they made me forget about the Aquaman movie, which that movie just doesn't hit for me.
Really?
It does not hit for me. No,
it doesn't hit for me either, Mike.
The minute I heard that cheesy guitar riff when he's on the sub, I said, you know what? Bet. Give me my money back, AMC. Run your pockets. I don't care. Everything. How do you cut Willem Dafoe from a movie? Even if it's only 2 minutes, how do you cut Willem Dafoe? How do you cut? You need that face in a movie. I don't care what. He just brings something to it, which is so awesome. The Aquaman scenes obviously give me the final battle was so different from the battle that was in the other movie. I loved it. I love the fact that Wonder Woman, the Wonder Woman scenes as well. I don't care what is going on. She could be making a cup of coffee. If that music pops up, I'm on that scene. I don't care. You can say whatever you want about me. I don't give a shit. and seeing that scene in the museum, I want to say it was, or gallery,
Yeah.
when like you felt that scene more in this one because of how she was going through, and you felt like, oh, this is. In the other one, you kind of felt, oh, she's a warrior. In this one, you were like, she is a warrior. She was trained by she. At matter of fact, all the Amazonian scenes, Wonder Woman and on Themyscira, Themyscira, hit different, so amazing, and hard hitting, and just felt right. But that scene, cutting off his head, and then it's rolling to Darkseid's foot, and then we see a pop, and then we see like what's going on with, and as always, Darkseid just standing there like, did y'all get my equation? No, then I don't care.
Exactly.
That scene, and including everyone from Apocalypse, Desaad, Granny, goodness. When I saw her, I said, "Oh my!" The only thing that we needed were the Furies. That was it. That was the only thing we needed. But you know what? I'm not mad at that, because pull that back for the next one. We're not going to get it next one. But it would have been cool to leave it, because you don't want to have everything in that movie. You want to hold some things back, which is cool. You know what I mean? And MCU has done that before, so we can't really gripe on that, saying, oh, well, why wasn't this, why wasn't that? When we've had that before, and we don't know the backstory of what these characters have already been through, because there was stuff going on all over the planet, not just in the city that they were in. So Martian Manhunter could have been somewhere else fighting. That could have been that other movie, because we, again, the Age of Heroes is upon us. There's been Age of Heroes again, so that means that there's other heroes out there. There's always been more than just the League. There's always been more than just us. And some people sometimes forget that, no, there's all these other fights going on around, so that could have been expanding on there. But that's the problem with when you have superhero movies, sometimes timelines and where things are at, because a lot of continuity there, they can be misplaced, and we sometimes forget that we don't know. Even the people who are making the movies do that at times. So again, the Amazonians, Aquaman, those are like my two warrior classes. They showed that they were warriors. You saw everyone's expertise. Ray Fisher, damn man, yes. Ray Fisher and Joe Morton. Totally different ending for Papa Stone. Totally different ending, and one that hits so much more. And everything that he did, and I didn't need him to be in that Titans, that Teen Titans, when he's like, change his form, he's with his dad. It's like, I didn't need that, because this hit hard, because he's still angry and he's still hurting, and he never got that closure with his father, and his father just gave his life for him. Now he's mad at himself. He's still mad at his father. He's got a lot going on. His body, he's still trying to figure it out. All that conflict, a movie for him would have been ridiculous. Yes, of course.
Absolutely.
So those three things are the things that hit for me. There's also supposed to be a Green Lantern was supposed to be in this. John Stewart. It was supposed to be, oh man, trying to remember his name. Oh my god, Trevante
Rhodes.
I want to say yes.
Okay.
I want to say that's supposed to be him. I have no issue with that at all. Bring it. Bring him in. Bring in Vixen. We're going to be getting
exactly.
Aldous Hodge as a Hawkman for Black Adam. Black Adam, if this is in the same tone as Black Adam, is that kind of same tone as this, because it has to be, because it's darker. Black Adam plays no games. Hawkman, yes. Well, the only thing that they did wrong with that was, and this is no offense to him, casting Pierce Brosnan as Dr. Fate. They should have went with my man Oded Fair. I hope I'm saying his name properly.
Oded Fair.
That dude. How can you not? My man from the Mummy, my man from the Gigolo. How can you not? Of course, you gotta get that dude is just. He should have walked in and been like, "I heard you wrote the movie. I'm here. I even got my own helmet. I don't know if y'all know this or not. I'm ready." But we'll see what happens with. But I'm excited to see that as well for that. What now, Mike? You talked about a scene that you did not like.
Yes.
What scene was that? And please tell us why. Like, run them pockets, Mike. Run them pockets.
Jesus, it's about like 3/4 of the scenes with Ezra Miller as the Flash.
So it's basically just Ezra Miller. Yes. Okay.
Partially, yes.
Okay.
I also think partially it's the choice of suit too. Like, I don't feel like he would be aerodynamically as fast as they try to portray him in the movie with that suit on, because it's like armor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I understand him having maybe that suit when we get to the future in the nightmare scene. I completely understand him having that suit then. Right? Because it's a completely different time than this is the time of Darkseid. He doesn't want to get hit with Omega beams if he can help it. You know what I mean? Then I understand him having that suit on. But when he wears it now in what is supposed to be present day, I don't even feel like that would help him move any faster. You know what I mean? And I also think, you know what it is? And shoot me. Shoot the messenger, please. I think my problem is that I am more than pleased with how Grant Gustin plays him on the CW. And the way that Ezra plays him is almost like he's a buffoon. And it just doesn't work. It doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. It doesn't feel genuine to me. Because I almost feel like what Grant Gustin plays him for is there's inherently some drama with, Barry Allen. Mm-hmm. Like, Barry Allen isn't just this happy-go-lucky guy who wound up with powers. You know what I mean? Like, he lost something. He lost his mom, and that changed him. The moment that changes him, he becomes a completely different person. And I'm not saying he can't be happy despite experiencing that trauma and carrying that pain, because he will carry that pain the rest of his life. Losing a parent will change him. It just will change him forever. But there's just something about the way the Flash is written in the Zack Snyder universe I just don't buy. Like, I don't buy that he would be that way. I don't buy that he would be this kind of aloof kind of guy. Like, I just don't. I don't. You know what I mean? And I just think that you need somebody different that is able to kind of pull out the drama that's there. Like, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying that he needs to be as I'm not saying that he needs to be as hard as Batman, or he needs to be as hard as Superman, or even Wonder Woman. He can have, quips here and there, but I feel like the quips are just too much for him in Zack Snyder's universe. It's like, give me something, Zack. Like, give me some kind of drama that he has. You know what I mean? And maybe that was purposeful, right? Maybe he was saving that to show you in his own movie. Maybe we'll finally get that in that long-rumored Flashpoint movie that he's supposed to be doing. I mean, I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Well, we don't get a lot of the Flash. I mean, even as far as we don't get a lot of, I think he might be the most underutilized character as far as the 6 and not the 7. Well, actually, he's not the most underutilized under 7. Actually, Martian Manhunter is. Sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
But
exactly.
Maybe if they had more for him, they would have had more of that depth, more of that drama, more of that other side. Because all you got to see, was that side, because they didn't give him very much to begin with. I shouldn't say darkest, the most dramatic scenes you see with him are with his father, and even those are still kind of light. So maybe that's just to be the opposite of everyone else in the movie. Maybe, like, I'm not.
Maybe. I'm also not even happy that they recast that, because supposedly in his own solo movie they recast the father role, which was being played by Billy Crudup in this movie. is going to be played by, oh God, what is that guy's name?
I don't know.
The guy, he was in Office Space. Ron Livingston, I think is his name.
He's going to be playing Flash's father.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Okay.
That's interesting. You know what? I can actually see him, and I don't mean anything by this, but I can actually see him like sitting in that chair behind the glass. I can actually see that. It actually, yeah, they could. Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an interesting choice.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure. I mean, I hope she's still in it. I don't even know if she is. The woman that plays Iris West is Kiersey Clemens is her name. I'm not even sure she's coming back because she was attached to the movie years ago when a director named Rick Fakayuma was going to direct it, and he directed Dope that Kiersey Clemens was in, and he's also directed some of the better episodes of The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
I don't even know if she's still attached to the movie.
Probably not.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, that was a long time ago, too.
Yeah,
that's a long ass time ago.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That is a flashpoint, though, because now everyone's different. So, yeah, it totally makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Solved your problem, WB. I got answers and I got solutions.
Yeah. I mean, my primary problem is just with the Flash character and how it's portrayed in this version of it. I just don't feel, and I know that there are different versions of the Flash, and I understand that, but it just doesn't feel right for what he's trying to do. You know what I mean?
I have a question, and this is my personal opinion as well. Like watching. Okay, in some ways I kind of like Miller, but at the same time, do you guys get the feeling that they're trying to make him like their version of Peter Parker?
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he's a down on his luck kid. Trying to make it on his own, made his own suit out of what have you. So all he needs is, I'm rich to here's a suit that I developed for you. Like that's, that this will help, what, here's your fund or whatever. Like that's, their version of, I would totally, until they bring in another kid, that's I guess you could say Spider-Man. I'm just keeping that Spider-Man. You could say Shazam, Billy Batson. As far as like their kids, but in the context of Justice League, like this movie, I guess that would be their close thing. But then again, if you look at it that way, you can say, oh well, Stark is Wayne is like there those comparisons, those links there, But with the quips, Miller doesn't give off that same vibe. And I understand people like him, don't like him, what have you. People talk about the way he ran and everything like that. I'm like, look, I'm going to run with it. No pun intended. I'm just going to see what happens with this. He ran differently. Okay. I want to see why. It kind of like fluid. Like what? Like maybe that's his interpretation of how the Speed Force like would feel to him because it flows around him. It's fluid. Maybe that's why he did it like he was swimming. I honestly don't know. If that's your biggest complaint, I mean, then you totally didn't see that mustache in the beginning of the goddamn movie. I'm gonna be honest with you. Seriously.
Exactly.
I agree. Yeah.
All right. So for each of you, a scene that you did not like. No. I should say no. I should say a scene that you're glad isn't in the Snyder's cut. Real quick. I already know mine. To be honest with you.
Mike,
even though it's a scene that was loved by people, I already know mine.
Well, it's not a scene per se, but it's an interpretation. It's a character interpretation, which I'm glad they toned down for the Snyder cut, and it's Momoa as Aquaman. In this version, he's a lot more serious, and he doesn't come off as douchey. Like he did in the in Whedon's movie, because that whole scene in the original where he was hitting on Wonder Woman, and I was kind of like, okay, it was kind of funny, but at the same time, I'm looking at it like this is not how Aquaman is supposed to act. I mean, unless they're trying to tailor it to Momoa's sensibilities. I don't know. It just felt really weird because like the characters are looking at him like, and then he realizes that she has the lasso of truth.
Oh, he's sitting on it. Yeah, he's sitting on it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, he felt he came off like a bit of an asshole. And okay, and I'm even going to take it back even further. Like, Mike, you said you weren't crazy about the Aquaman movie.
Yeah.
Neither of us was.
Neither one. I guess I'm the odd man out because I kind of liked it. Okay, you know what? I mean, I don't know. That's just me. I really didn't have a problem with the tone of it. I mean, like him trying to discover and fulfill his destiny reluctantly, you know, coming to face with, going face to face with Willem Dafoe, trying to show him, listen, this is your birthright, blah 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 blah. His interaction with Mira, I liked it.
Yeah,
but
I don't really have a problem with what they. I don't have a problem with the narrative structure of the film.
Right.
The problem I have with it is it's not very James Wan.
Okay.
Until there's one part in it, and the part in the trench is completely James Wan.
Okay.
The rest of the movie is the WB saying, this needs to be light because this is what we want.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Right.
And because we have a sex symbol.
It pretty much.
And this is going to be like a rom-com, like, do you guys remember Romancing the Stone?
Yeah.
And all that? Yeah. That scene when they were running on the rooftops?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I immediately said, look, just get Michael Douglas and
Kathleen Turner
and get her, and just put them on this goddamn roof, okay? Right. Because that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to do that adventure, finding love, romance kind of thing.
Exactly.
And I said, that was their attempt at it. And no, it wasn't anything about, because they had built it as being a horror movie. They were going to have it be a horror movie. That's what they kept saying. Yeah. And when James Wan came out, everybody, this is. And I've been wanting a superhero horror movie for the longest time because there are some great characters at it. And the trench, when that scene came up, I was like, this is Wan. There's no everything else. I don't know who that cat is. Wan must have been off.
Yeah, they absolutely missed. They missed on this opportunity, because when you really sit down and think about it, even the most experienced swimmer, people who love the water in the world will tell you, water to a certain extent has this horrific element to it, right? Yep. Like, if you get caught in the water, even the best swimmer can die, in the water. Like, and you had the perfect guy, the guy who has literally built you a horror universe at WB, to do an Aquaman movie that would absolutely rock as a horror film, with a hero coming out of the horror of the ocean, right? You don't even get that, really.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You don't get that at all. Yeah. So that's why I had a problem with it. It's probably the worst $1 billion making movie I've ever seen in my life.
Oh yeah, it did make a lot of money. I totally forgot about that. Yeah, it did.
Yes.
Yeah, it did. It totally did, man. You know what? I was part of that because I was in theater wearing this damn
Yes,
t-shirt,
exactly.
So
Exactly.
And because that was the movie the movies I was most excited about were Wonder Woman and Aquaman. Yeah. Those were two movies I was the most excited about. Yeah. Michael, what was it for you? What was that? Or did you already play your hand?
No. I'm sorry. What was the question again about worst scene?
It was the scene that you're glad wasn't in the Snyder cut.
Zack Snyder's cut.
Yeah. A scene that wasn't in the original movie.
That whole beginning part with Superman and the handheld footage with the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's one of the worst things I've ever seen. Like, you could literally tell That effect to hide that mustache is horrible. Like it's absolutely horrible from the Whedon cut. Like that right there.
This is my version of it.
Exactly.
my
That
version
right
of it.
there starts the movie off in the worst way possible.
It was
in the Whedon
lazy.
cut.
Mm.
And I'm glad I'm glad because it wasn't, obviously it wasn't Zack Snyder's filming, right? So it's not in the movie. That right there, hands down, is the one thing that's the worst, one of the worst parts of the Whedon cut, and I'm glad he doesn't even attempt to revisit it in the Zack Snyder cut.
Yeah,
At all.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you're just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
No. Just
Like,
shave.
yeah,
Just shave.
like-
yeah,
That's
right,
all.
thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me just put it this way: Zack Snyder's beginning to his cut absolutely tramples the beginning of the Whedon cut. Absolutely
Yeah.
tramples it.
It sets a tone. You have to set a tone. And your tone was the shitty CGI,
Yep.
kids, handheld footage.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is what we're going to get. All right. And you know what? We actually sat there and watched it, so I can't even be mad at it.
Oh, and the side note that I'm glad didn't make it into this version either is, for some reason, Whedon thought that it made sense in one of the battle scenes towards the end of the movie to give all of the heroes their original music from other movies.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. In the Whedon cut, he gave Batman his original music from Batman 89. Superman, he gave him his original music from the Reeve movies.
Wow.
And-
I gotta watch that again.
oh my god, it's
No, you
it's
don't.
terrible.
No, you
I
don't.
gotta watch that again. I
No, you don't.
remember that. Okay.
You need to just fast forward to that scene and and just listen to the audio. It's awful.
All right.
I mean, that is the way that you mess up classic music immediately. Like in a situation that you tried to use it, it's like, I understand what he tried to do. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work.
But that was him trying to be Whedon. Like that was him trying to,
Yeah.
you know, he loves dropping little Easter eggs and little nods and everything. And superhero movies, that's become too prevalent. Dropping Easter egg, that's cool, what have you, but don't let it get in the way or make your scene even choppier.
Yeah.
But again, if you're consistently shitty, you're gonna accept that shit on the plate and you're gonna eat it up.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what music he used. I'm not even sure what music he used from Wonder Woman in that scene, because what did you do? You went back to Linda Carter's music? Which definitely wouldn't have fit in that at all. Like, there would have been no way to dovetail that 70s Wonder Woman music into the other two musics he used.
It would have been laughable. No.
Like, I don't know.
Like, what?
I don't know.
It's like, where's Linda Carter?
Yeah,
Exactly.
I mean, for me, it was the scene where they're saving the civilians, and Flash is pushing the truck, and Superman has the house, and then they use that to do the race scene, which is again another nod to fans, stuff like that. I didn't need it. I've seen enough of superheroes saving people and stuff like that in those scenes, and I understand that would happen in that situation. But let's focus on this right now. Let's focus. I mean, everybody else left except for them. They had a truck, right? I mean, I realized it wasn't moving or whatever, but still, you had time. Maybe that's just me being horrible and just saying collateral damage. But y'all could have left. Like, you didn't want better for your kids. Like, you shouldn't have been living there anyway. I'm gonna be real. Like for real. Like, I understand people are impoverished in their head, but really, I mean, for real though, man. There was nothing there. What was he doing? There was nothing. Like, what did he do for a living? Does anybody remember?
I have no idea.
Exactly. So there was nothing. Where were you working? What were y'all doing? There was no plumbing in the house. Where were you getting anything from? Come on, man. You need better for your family. If she divorces him in the Snyder cut needs to have a divorce scene with them in there. He was a horrible provider.
Exactly.
Horrible.
Exactly.
But that was a scene that I was like, and again, I understand the race is like, you know, who would win, and people, but as Michael knows, I hate that versus mess. Who wins? Whoever the writer is feeling that day.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Whoever the writer is feeling that day. That's it. Okay, so to end the show, and
Yes.
as a juxtaposition to the worst scene, what was your favorite scene in the movie? Real quick, your favorite scene or favorite character?
Um,
Look at the wheels turning.
Yeah,
Wheels
I gotta
turned
think
on him,
about that
brother.
for a minute.
Oh, look
I
at this!
gotta think
Oh,
about
look at this,
that for a minute.
brother.
the battle scene, final battle.
Oh, okay.
That was my favorite sequence of all. There's a lot of great stuff. I mean, it's really hard to really single out one, but I mean, the battle scene felt a lot more accomplished in this version.
Hmm.
Character wise, Batman. I mean,
Yeah.
I've said it before and I've said it again. Like my favorite on screen Batman has always been Bale, Christian Bale.
Okay.
Because to me, under Chris Nolan's direction, I mean, he felt closest to the comic book Batman, especially in this era. But I love what Ben Affleck is doing. I mean, his character, his interpretation is a lot darker, it's more jaded. Because you think a man who has been crime fighting for 20 some years, at a point he's seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and now it's like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He knows it's a battle he may never win. So it's like I guess it gets to a point where it's like, I deal with murderers and punks. I gotta be a beast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like when people were talking about, oh, Batman doesn't kill, I didn't have a problem with that because he was like, listen, sometimes I gotta get dirty. So I like Batman, in the Snyder universe.
Okay.
So yeah.
Michael.
That would have to be my favorite scene in this cut of the movie is probably. Am I saying this right? The epilogue that comes at the very end.
Yes.
Yeah. Even going back to B versus S, which is another movie that I have issues with. Although I like the longer cut of the movie is the much superior version of it. I always had this feeling that even when there's that jarring scene in the middle of the movie with the Flash coming back from the future telling Bruce that Lois is the key, I was like, man, is this guy really trying to go for injustice? And when I was thinking, I was like, man, this might be the most brilliant thing he can do with DC right now is to do a straight on injustice kind of storyline for these movies, because that's the kind of thing you need that is different than what Marvel is trying to do, right? Like, it's the kind of thing that you do to counterpoint Marvel, so that you have two things existing in the fandom right now that are both things that people want to see. Like, you have although people would say that Marvel is lighter, it still has some weight to it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you do an Injustice storyline, it's like nothing but darkness and weight. You know what I mean? So that epilogue at the end of the movie, it just absolutely confirmed everything that I thought early on in Zack Snyder and what he was trying to do. Like, to have the Joker basically just sitting there as part of now Batman's team against Darkseid and Superman is just amazing. Like, that scene is great. Like, that's how you use Joker, not the way he used Joker the first time in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't like that interpretation of it at all. But for him to reshoot that scene with Jared Leto with long hair, because I could buy that. I could buy that Joker never hasn't cut his hair in God knows how long. You know what I mean?
Well, there ain't no barbers.
Exactly. And for him to have that discussion with Batman at the end of that scene where, he kind of basically lays all the blame at Bruce's feet for the reason why Lois is dead and why we're now in this situation. You know what I mean? It's just really good. Like that's a really good scene. And I really wonder how that would have impacted people the first time around if they had seen that in a theater. Like if that had been the end sequence to a Justice League movie in the theater, I think people would have gone maybe not nearly as insane as they did when they saw Thanos for the first time at the end of Avengers.
Yeah.
But they certainly would have been like, what? Like, what is going on right now? You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I really like that epilogue scene a lot. Like, there's a lot going on in that scene. And even the fact that you have Bruce dropping F-bombs there in that scene is also very good, too.
Loved it.
It's just, man. I really wish the people had gotten a chance to see that on a big screen in a crowded theater. Just that scene in general.
Yeah, I mean, it makes more sense in that Joker, and you see their dynamic and their relationship in that scene perfectly.
Yeah.
Like you could build a movie on that. Like, how did you get to this point?
Yeah.
Like you have a whole movie about how they got to that point.
Yeah.
And such like that. Like, yeah, that epilogue was great. And your character, is it Joker? Did you say it was Joker or was it?
Yeah, I would say it's Joker. It's how he used the Joker and how he kind of, should I say, breathed the right life into Joker in this movie. Yeah,
it was a different, and him wearing like the police vest too. I was like, this guy's such a dick. He's just
exactly.
But it's Joker-esque. Like that's something that Joker would do. Like just to be. Just everything he was even saying to him, like just trying to push Bruce, and he's like, and when he says, I'm gonna fucking kill you, I am I'm gonna do it. It was that scene was great. For me, and I like the way that they redid it. The scene where Bruce goes looking for Aquaman.
Yes.
I love that. Most of my likes have been stuff about Aquaman, obviously. It just because he doesn't want to be bothered. He's King Tide and everything like that, and it's not all quippy and everything like that, like it was in the original. It's like he's saying, I know he comes here on the King Tide and he brings in everybody's like. Meanwhile. He's the world's greatest detective. And you don't have to be a detective to know that who in this room doesn't look like anybody else.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is like, in this scene, he's like 9 feet tall.
Yep.
He's like 400 pounds of muscle.
Yep.
He's like 100 pounds of like tattoo. Like he's just standing there and he's at the bar and he's like, yeah, the guy comes in there and he's like, is he drinking? And you can tell that he's the king there. Because the way he's standing there and everyone's answering for him, like you're my servants, you speak for him. I'm not talking to him. Just like as if like a king was in his court. And you have the person standing there and coming next in, and the person doing the ushering, let's say, bring the person in. He was standing there like he's beneath me. I'm not gonna say it. And then when he's like, so you really do dress up as a bat? He's like, yeah, it's complicated. And he's like, all right, I guess I'm gonna get it. All right, cool, whatever. And then the scene, people were weirded out by this scene. And some people said, wow, nobody wants to acknowledge that Aquaman comes to this town and these women are sitting here singing his name, singing about him. And one sniffs his sweater. And I was like, that's kind of roguish, because it always bothered me that he would just take off a sweater. That always bugs me in movies when I hear about takes off their clothes and they just throw it down, and I'm like, yo, like that shirt, like you're not gonna find that shirt again. Why are you just doing it? It always bugs me. So when she picked up and she sniffed it, and I was like, oh, all right, like it made sense to me. But I've always liked that scene, but this scene was just more fleshed out. It was not as jokingly. Like it was seriously like I'm putting this team together. I need your help. I need your help. And they don't show him in that glamorized way. They just show him standing there, and then he's not there. He's like he's gone. So they don't show up his powers just yet. What have you?
Yeah.
You know, character. I'm gonna say in this one, I gotta go with it's not Aquaman because I've already praised him enough. I gotta say Cyborg. The way they showed Cyborg as being that, you know what? Actually, come to think of it, Mike A. Yeah. Cyborg could be the Spider-Man for this movie because of what he's trying to do.
Yeah, that too. That's true. That's very true.
Because Spider-Man would be the guy who would bring back someone's purse if he found the mugger. Yeah. So he's the one trying to do this. That actually makes sense because Flash, I mean, was just trying to get a job. Because he was, I guess, homeless because nobody knew where he was at, really. He was stealing, like, power from the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in this respect, maybe, like, Cyborg is really the Spider-Man of it because, you know, we're seeing it through his eyes.
Right. Okay.
And he's doing that neighborhood, like, even though he's, like, you know, this larger-than-life hero, in essence, truthfully.
Yeah.
He's doing this little thing, quote-unquote, little thing of giving this woman this money and saying that she wants some type of concert or something like that.
Yeah.
That's some neighborhood Spider-Man type of stuff where he'll bring your purse pack. Yeah, I've done it 1,000 times in a damn video game. So yeah, I know this dude would bring your purse back. So yeah, in that way, yeah, that's
okay.
Yeah, that's actually yeah. So honestly, this is kind of making me want to watch the movie again. I'm not gonna lie. But I think I'll watch the actual grayscale because I want to see that one more. The Justice is Gray version. Same amount of time. I don't believe there are any different scenes. It's just in like not really black and white, but more grayscale. Like it really is like that. And it looks from like the 10 minutes I watched of it before we came on, it looks really good. It does.
Yeah. I just found out about the gray version. I didn't even know until today. Someone else pointed that out on Facebook. They watched the gray version. I'm like, gray version? What are you talking about? I was like, what?
I don't think it was released on the same day. I just happened to be on there and I saw gray and I was like, oh, I thought it was maybe some type of documentary on what was going on. I was like, oh, I want to see this. Then I saw it was 4 hours. I said, wait, hold on. Wait, that's a long documentary. Hold on. Wait, hold on. No, don't do this again, Zach. Don't do this again, WWE. But then I saw that it was the movie and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. And it, like I said, it looks really good.
Can I give an honorable mention about a character from this version of it? Desaad.
Oh yes.
Because Desaad gives a whole host of context to, the interactions between Steppenwolf and Darkseid.
They're way more there.
Yeah, it's just like, Desaad is the guy that, Darkseid is like, you go deal with this guy. I'm not talking directly to this guy. You go deal with this guy. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So. No, that's very true because it does add that element of apocalypse too. That you're missing because when you see Steppenwolf there, like you just like, so why is he here? And people who don't know are like, why is this guy? And he's getting his ass trounced every time. Like, why is he even like they can't beat him? But then when you see what happens after that, and you see Desaad, and you see the only person I didn't see was Caliban. I want to say. The son, he may have been in actual throne room, honestly, because that scene was very quick. So he could have been in the throne. He could have been in that scene, honestly. But I was just so focused on Granny Goodness.
Yeah.
And I was expecting to see like the Furies flanking her, but they weren't. And I was like, okay, so that would have been in something different. But Desaad, and the whole way they bring him out in that, like the metal kind of thing, like the almost like a tablet, like an obelisk kind of thing. He comes out of it was the whole bitch. That's Zack Snyder. You give Zack Snyder money, he gonna spend that whole budget and then some. He gonna have to kick in another 100,000 because he wanted to play with a camera or something.
Exactly.
All right, so that was our breakdown discussion critique of Justice League. I almost said Justice League Dark, but in essence. Justice League, that's Justice League Snyder cut. If you do go and see it, it is broken up in chapters. You can stop on a chapter and let you know, like it'll say the chapter's name in the beginning of each chapter if you want to watch it. If you want to binge all 4 hours, go ahead. have something with you, like so you can go to the bathroom if you don't want to get up. I don't know if your remote control's broken. That's on you. Cool, whatever. But it is good. If you do want to compare it to the original is on HBO Max as well. There's also, like Michael A. pointed out, there's the gray version versus the regular. It's just on there. Like you just looked them both up, and it's right next to it, and it looks beautiful as well too. But yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. So determine it if you like. We'd like to know your comments, what you thought. Joy has been in here the whole time. Joy Infinity is on there. Thank you so very much,
Thanks,
Joy.
Thank you.
She only saw a little bit of the movie, and she didn't care about spoilers because she just wanted to take. I would say go and watch it. Like I said, you can break it up however you want. And if you do want, you're feeling brave, go and watch the original, and you'll really see the difference between the two, because there is a definite difference between the two.
Yep.
Yeah.
So on that note, thank you for joining us, Michael Andrews.
Yes.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Amazing.
Even though so much fun. Yeah.
Even though we had battling T-shirts, Atlantis versus Wakanda.
It's all good, brother. It's all good. Man. We all on the same side.
And so we all drink water. That's the important part.
Yeah, exactly.
We all drink water. On that note, the gentleman Michael Williams, you have any final words for the folks, sir?
Again, as always, be good to each other. Continue to. COVID's still out there. Mask up.
Yeah.
Stop beating up Asian people. They're not the reason why we're in this situation. Leave them the hell alone.
Yep.
And yeah, that's it.
From myself, Antonio Pomares. I think we took leave Asian people alone to a new extent when people didn't even bother to help them when they were getting beat up in broad daylight and groups of people. If you see something like that, help someone. There's never a need. That was disgusting. Utterly fucking disgusting.
Yeah.
For you to close the door and that's not your problem. And even on a subway, crowded subway, and I realize COVID is a thing and we don't want to touch each other, but if someone's getting beaten up right there just because they decided to exist and breathe and go, they had to go to work or go out for what have you. And the people didn't say anything until the man started choking the victim out. Come on. Do something, say something, stand the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's New York. Come on, New York.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's never a need for that. Never. Stop it. Stop that shit. It's not. No. Act right. It's.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
On that note, before I get myself started, because you know I will, do the best you can with what you got, because it's all you get.
Yep.
That's it. And like I always say, don't be a dick and don't be a cunt. That's pretty much it, folks. Pretty simple and easy.
Good philosophy.
That's it. All right. And go eat something tasty, for real. You know, and another thing, y'all motherfuckers love ordering Chinese, but you ain't gonna stand up and help that person out over there.
Thank you, brother. All right, thank you. Thank you.
Word. All right, cool. Bet.
Thank you.
Bet. I hope they pee in your soup, for real. Just because you ordering all hours of the night. And your orders be crazy too. You coming out with crazy. I don't want no onions in my white rice. What you do? What? Yes, I stole that from that old album. I don't care. That line is true. But why would you? I don't understand. That okay, cool, whatever. Y'all enjoy your day. But make it a good one. Stand up against the bullshit. All right.
That's right.
We'll see y'all next time around. Thank you for everyone who has liked, subscribed, shared, watched, commented, anything with us. We appreciate it. Stick with us. We're just gonna keep doing more. All right. Y'all have a good one. Peace.
All right.
Peace.